All right, let's finish this off. Part 5 of American Laodyssey. Today's special of the Shuan Chen, coated in caramelized spice, the suckers of a squid tentacle diced into impotence between my chopsticks and baked. They once clutched at an ocean writhing with life, clasping dearly to each precious bite. What will worms use to hold my bony hands if I don't let my family throw me into the sea, a handful of dust with a hint of squid flavoring? What is the Southeast Asian American poem of tomorrow? It is not hip-hop, despite some hopes. It is not slam. It is not even an anti-poem. It is not the form of old Europeans or the resurrected Ghazal. But of his words I must inform you will not even resemble or recall the Oditsia, Gadao, or the... Much to our parents' regrets, who pray among vats and steeples for good grandchildren, lucky numbers, and doctors in the family. If our lovely readers do not grow free, we will be unreadable. If our writing is too predictable, we, too, will lie in the ditches unsold. If our words don't speak what's in our hearts, our souls and skulls, we will forget ourselves, our bodies, our shapes, our language. And the true shape of a Southeast Asian American poem of tomorrow will become an exercise in modern myth. What kills a man? Always small things, around, holes, fumes, edges, split atoms, a second, a footstep, a sip, a bite, a word, a cell, a motion, an emotion, a dream, a fool, a bit of salt, a drop, a fragment, a true root of arguments. What kills a man is mysterious only in how minute the culprit behind the blow. We're careless and forget, even when what kills a man is another man. It is a small thing that kills a man, the whole earth, a single grain on a sprawling table filled with the smallest things. What tomorrow takes away. On a good day, the feeling of something left undone, nagging like Mrs. Tolstoy on her deathbed in Astapolvo. On a bad day, the feeling that something has been accomplished, like Mr. Tolstoy's last period for a book called War and Peace. I wish we weren't so obsessed with hope, because in a good world, we wouldn't need it at all. Wisdom. The Greeks say wisdom begins with a face in the mirror that says, I do not know. Sun Tzu needed a lovely girl's head to show that knowing yourself and knowing your foe was enough to win a war best won without a single drop of blood upon those rosy roads filled with beauty. Confucius, with his aging pupils, had enough time to scribble out, it is only the wisest and the very stupidest who cannot change. The lousy old man from Honan, in his laid-back way, says, between good and evil, how much difference? On the internet, you can find a copy of the I Ching that will give free readings at a click of a button if you're too lazy to toss the coins in yarrow, with all the reliability of a tarot deck stripped of a minor arcana. Exacting physicists in their duty say everything that rises must converge, and every action carries an opposite reaction, equal and pure. The Zen monks in the mountains think they can get away with the, I don't know, a fushiki, and nothing more than an empty fist. If they aren't careful, it will cost all of them their lives. The Chinese say that wisdom begins when you begin calling things by their proper names. An Amway rep, who shall remain anonymous, says, tough times don't last, but tough people do, and it is best to go into business for yourself, but not by yourself. Such wisdom is as old as the pyramids, depending on whom you talk to. In some cultures, it is rude to talk to someone if you have nothing to say, and after a time you might find that saying nothing and saying something amount to the same thing. A one man was quoted obscurely, the world is only as large as a man is willing to walk. Exhausted and weary, the GIs in Kuwait say, wheels are better than heels. Mortal combat between its savage rounds contends. There is no knowledge, but is not power. It is not worth losing your head or your heart for a quarter. From the lightless grave, Lord Acton wags his ink-stained fingers powerlessly in disapproval about abuse and absolutes. Thundering Mr. Elliot through an April haze murmured incomprehensibly with a lost Brahmin's lullaby, Data Dayadavam Damyata, while a shrieking young boy from the back streets can only see a wasted mile of indigo ink. It will never be his mantra. The dog whispers conspiratorially, if you cannot kill it or eat it, play with it or sleep with it, or even crap on it, leave it alone. But then again, they say dreaming dogs lie, don't they? Huxley wishes that in 60 years he could have produced a message more profound than treat people a little more nicely, while Beatles proclaim, all you need is love. And so it goes. After all of this, a young mother looks at me and asks, why bother looking at all if that's the best you can give? Peering down into that cavernous cradle and her trusting baby's lively smile, how can I come empty-handed? Ypsilanti, 1982. In 36 years, I barely spoke a word about my days in Ypsilanti, known chiefly for giving us Iggy Pop and an obscure pioneer in continental drift. I was watching the 9 o'clock news with my father in our living room, as was the family habit. I was 9, eating a baby Ruth in June when a picture of Vincent Chin flashed on screen with a discussion of murder, Japan, and the Motor City. My father said, not to take it personally, we were going to have a barbecue with our blue-collar neighbor on Saturday, once he was done at the Ford factory. Our other neighbors across the way, with the tall, bottle-blonde daughters, was a Baptist preacher fond of discussing Pearl Harbor with me every other day, because I couldn't tell him a thing about Laos. Zelkova tree. A friend warned me the other day not to write about the Zelkova, or I might come back as one and find myself cut into furniture just as things start to get interesting. The other day, the Zelkova warned me not to worry about my friends, or I might stay human and find myself cut in furniture just as things start to get interesting. Zambuddha utters Om, not brains, is not attached to the body, is not attached to the mind. Decay is one aspect of a cycle of birth, life, death, rebirth, re-death, never perfumes or gilds the self. Comes back for you, perhaps right behind you. Keep going, he says in his own way. Observes a walk-in meditation, does not hurry or drive cars or trucks or tanks or gunships or warplanes. Will not touch money or liquor beyond the vices of lust and greed. Focused, not one possession of a past matters. Old names are useless. Accepts every moment of equanimity. No fear, no pain, no anger, no jealousy. Burn him, cut him, shoot him, flee him, free him. It is the same. The old riddle still applies. Meeting the Buddha on the road, you can say nothing to him. You cannot remain silent. What do? You will destroy him to be comfortable. Some will follow his path, become one with him, laughing at the dancing bones of Zen, the lessons of an uncertain universe. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future.